Well, if you're watching this video, it's most likely because you're about to experience flying by yourself, but you might be feeling a little like this. Being nervous when going to the airport is completely normal, especially if you're going to be traveling by yourself. But have no fear, because I have been on numerous flights by myself in the past, which is why in this video today I wanted to share with you some first-time flying solo tips with you to both calm your nerves and also help you to have a more enjoyable experience. Whether or not you're new here, welcome back to the Megan Moves channel, where I like to share videos to help families make the most of their travels so that way they can create long-lasting memories. So if this is content that interests you, definitely hit that subscribe button below, and let's go ahead and get right on into these tips. The first tip that I have for you here today is to budget your time. When flying solo, you don't have the luxury of having a group to travel with. And so you're going to have to be responsible for every aspect of this flight, including the timing of getting to the airport and also getting onto your flight. I definitely recommend getting to the airport plenty early for your flight, so that way you don't have to worry about missing your flight. Now, when going to the airport, there are a couple of areas that you're going to want to make sure you budget enough time for accordingly. One area you're going to want to consider is if you are driving your own car and parking at the airport. If you are getting dropped off when going to the airport, it's nice because you don't have to worry about parking a car and you can go ahead and get right on into the airport and get ready to go to your gate. But if you are parking your car, you got to consider the amount of time that it's going to actually take to park your car and then to get to the airport. Now, when I drive myself to the airport, I usually park in an off-site parking establishment, and I'll usually budget anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes extra time to make sure that I can get parked and find a spot, leave time to get onto the shuttle that will take me to the airport, and account for any time that I might have to wait to find a spot or for the shuttle to take me to the airport. So if you are driving yourself and parking, make sure that you think about how much time it will take for you to get your car parked and also get a shuttle or walk to the airport, however you are going to get there after parking your car. The next thing that you'll want to consider is how long is it going to take to check any bags that you need to check for your flight. Sometimes the front desk to check bags can get pretty busy depending on the time that you're flying, so you'll want to make sure if you have to check any bags to budget some time for that. Of course, you know when going to the airport, you'll have to consider going through security, and depending on where you're traveling from, the security process can be either an easy or a difficult one. Where I currently travel from, I usually fly through the Orlando airport, and security can be anywhere from walking right through or having to wait in a line that is a couple hours long. So just make sure that you budget accordingly so that way you don't miss your flight having to wait in line for security. The next tip that I have for you is tip number 2 here, which is to look up a map of the airport. I recommend looking up a map of the airport just to familiarize yourself with where you will be traveling to and from. In the past, you may be used to traveling with a group of people that were able to navigate you through the airport, so you may think that you have a good understanding of how to navigate the airport that you are going to, but that may just have been because you were traveling with a group of people. So familiarizing yourself with a map and knowing where to go whenever you get to the airport can help you to be comfortable and confident that you know where you're going to be going. This is also helpful if you have a layover when you are going on your flight, because the airport that you are having the layover at may be an airport that you have never been to before. So you want to make sure whenever you get off your flight for that layover that you know how to get to the connecting gate. So you can take a look at the map and see how you're going to have to get to that connecting gate. Are you able to just walk a couple of gates down, or are you going to have to take a couple of trams or transportation to get to a different terminal to get that gate? Looking up and familiarizing yourself with the map can also help with some time budgeting that you have, because if you have a close layover where you don't have a lot of time to get to and from the next gate, you want to make sure that you're able to get there in enough time. So having an idea of where to go will help you to be able to get your flight and stay on time. Tip number 3 here that I have for you for flying solo is to check in online ahead of time. Now, checking in online for your flight ahead of time before getting to the airport can help save you a lot of time once getting to the airport. Airlines make it very easy for you to be able to check in ahead of time. You can check in on the mobile apps, you can check in online, they'll send you emails when it's time for you to be able to check in for your flight. Usually airlines allow you to check in 24 hours before your flight will be leaving, so checking in ahead of time can be a very convenient thing when going on a flight. The lines for the front desks at the airport can tend to get pretty busy, and so being able to check in ahead of time and not have to worry about going to the front desk or going to use the kiosk to check in can help save you some time because you'll already be checked in whenever you get to the airport, so you can head straight to security. And a little tip here for you. I know when I have flown with Spirit in the past, sometimes whenever they overbook their flights, they go by the order that the passengers checked in to choose who will be able to have a seat on the plane and who will be bumped to the next plane. So if you're able to check in ahead of time, that can help to guarantee you more of a seat on the plane if in the event they overbook their flight. The fourth tip that I have for you is to prepare ahead of time for security. Going through security can be one of the most stressful aspects of going to the airport, but if you are able to prepare ahead of time, it can help to make your experience a little bit more comfortable. As you may know, when going through security, you will have to take out any large electronic devices such as iPads or laptops, and you'll also have to take out any liquids that you plan on bringing. Also, when going through security, you will need to have your boarding pass out and available and your ID. What I like to do while I am in line for security is I like to get myself all prepped. I will pull out my ID and I will get my boarding pass pulled up on my phone, so that way I can quickly show the TSA agent all that they need to see so I can head right into security. Then if I have any liquids or laptops or items like that that I know that I'm going to be bringing that I have to take out when going through security, I actually will take them out while I am in line, and I will actually hold them so that way they are ready whenever I get to the actual security checkpoint. Security can be a pretty chaotic time, so having everything out and ready can help you not to feel rushed by any passengers that may be behind you, because you can just put all of your items that you need onto the security belt and away you go. With all that rushing around though, I will say be sure to be cognizant of all of the items that you put onto the belt and make sure that you don't misplace anything while in the process. There's a lot of things happening, and so the last thing that you would want to do is to leave something at security or misplace your ID or your wallet or any items that you may be taking out when going through security. So just make sure that you are keeping track of all that you have whenever you're going through security. Another little weird thing that I'll do when traveling by myself is, since I am traveling solo and I don't have the luxury of having other people around me, is I usually will send my bag through the security scanner first, and then I'll put any of my valuable belongings that I have to have out when going through security behind my bag. Now, the reason why I do that is because sometimes the line to go through the physical scanner can get pretty backed up, and your items can go out through the security scanner without you being there. And so I've never actually had a problem with this, but the last thing that I would want to have happen is for anybody to take my laptop or any other valuable items that I have out and visible while going through security. So I always just send my bag through first. So the worst case scenario is if I'm caught in that line, my bag may be the first thing to go through and not my valuable items. So that may be something that you implement whenever you are traveling solo this time, but ultimately just be prepared when going through security, and having all these items out can help you to make the experience less stressful. The fifth tip that I have for you is going to sound a little bit strange, but it is to be present while at your gate. This may sound a little bit self-explanatory, but ultimately when you're traveling solo, you don't have the luxury of having a group to be able to tell you when to board the plane. I remember when traveling as a kid, I would always rely on my parents to tell me when to board the plane and when to do anything when it came to flying, and you may feel the same way whenever you were traveling in the past with a group, but when you are traveling solo, you have to rely on everything by yourself. Make sure you're aware of everything that's happening with your flight. Try to keep up to date on the status of your flight. A lot of times airlines will email you notifications, or on the app it will tell you the status of your flight. This can help you to know if there are any delays or cancellations with your flight, or if there is a gate change. I know one time I was traveling and last minute they actually changed the gate of the flight, and luckily I had looked at my phone because I wasn't aware of the gate change. So you just want to make sure that you are up to date on everything that's happening with your flight, because the last thing you'd want to do is to miss your flight. Being able to sit at your specific gate will help you to hear any notifications that they say over the loudspeaker. But a lot of times people have headphones in and they're just relaxing before their flight. So make sure if you are listening to anything or watching anything before your flight, make sure that you are still able to hear any notifications that go over the loudspeaker, because you wouldn't want to get so invested in the show or whatever you're watching that you miss all of the notifications for boarding your flight. So just make sure that you are present and aware of everything that's happening before you get on your flight. Tip number 6 that I have for you is to bring entertainment. When flying solo, it's important to bring something with you to keep yourself entertained during your flight. When flying, I recommend bringing some type of book, downloading any TV shows or movies onto your phone, or even downloading a game that you're able to play, and making sure that your device is fully charged before getting onto the flight. What you can do before actually getting onto your flight is you can look up all of the flight info for the plane that you will be flying on for your flight. This can help you to see what kind of amenities are offered onto your flight. Sometimes they have Wi-Fi, or there are actual outlets that are on the seats of the plane. So this can help you prepare ahead of time, but just to be sure, download any entertainment that you need to have in case your flight doesn't have Wi-Fi, and it's also a good idea to bring a separate portable charger so that way you can keep your device charged if it's starting to lose some battery and you don't have an outlet to plug into. Also remember to bring headphones. Sometimes if you bring the headphones that have the audio jacks, your plane might actually have screens that you're able to watch TV shows and movies on, but you'll want to make sure that you have audio jack headphones, that way you can actually plug in to listen to the entertainment that you want to watch on the screen. And the final and seventh tip here that I have for you is to send out your flight info. Once getting to your destination, if you aren't having an Uber or a Lyft pick you up, you may be having some friend or family member come to get you. But it's very helpful for them to know when to come and get you, so by sending out your flight info, it can help them to track your flight so that way they know when to get to the airport to get you. Now there's a couple of ways that they can track the status of your flight, and one way is to actually go onto the airline's website to check the flight status. One way they can check the flight status is by knowing what destination you are flying from and then flying to. And then the other way is to actually check by the flight number. This can help them to get an idea of how the flight's going and if you will be arriving before or after schedule. But if you have an iPhone, there's another really great way to track flight status. The way that you can do this is you can actually text out your flight information. This has worked for all of the airlines that I have flown on, but what you'll do is you'll look for the flight information located on your ticket and you will text it out on your phone and hit send. Once you hit send, it will actually pop up as a hyperlink on the message, and once you click on it, it'll pop up with a flight status. So there you can actually see a map of where the airplane is at and the expected time that the airplane will be landing. This can help give the person that's coming to get you an idea of where you're at in your flight and when they should come and get you from the airport. So there you have it, and with any of those tips, was I able to ease some of your nerves? Flying solo can be intimidating, but I know that it's nothing you can't handle. If you're feeling nervous, ultimately preparing ahead of time will help you to feel more confident once getting to the airport, and it will make your travels more seamless and comfortable. Are you planning on flying solo in the near future, or have you ever flown solo before? Let me know in the comment section below if there's anything that you're feeling particularly nervous about, or if there are any other questions that you might have about flying solo. I'd love to see if I could provide some answers. But I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you're interested in keeping up with more ways to make the most of your travels, definitely hit that subscribe button below. We'll let you know when the next video goes live. So enjoy your flight, let me know how it goes, and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys!